Hello, this is Rita, and this is me and my mommy's podcast, and then my mommy, and there's me, and I'm just talking about this stuff, and there's me tap dancing, because this is a tap dancing slash autism podcast, and there's a bunch of animals, and I'll be trying to eat my hair, and there's a bunch of sand in the ocean. Also, there's all the soul talk stuff. I love all my ninjas and babes. And also, yes, like life stuff and tap dancing. Oh, and also there's my boots. My boots are amazing. Also, there's me, trying not to have a panic attack. Also, this is a podcast about me, autism, and tap dancing, and blah, blah, blah. I'm just ADHD in this thing. Also, there's my cute, adorable puppies.
Welcome to another Friends Friday here at Leta Tap Styles. Today we have Mario on. Mario, I am absolutely terrible at introducing our guests. Would you mind doing me a favor and introducing yourself to our listeners?
Well, this is going to be very interesting because it's not easy for me always to talk about myself. I like to talk about what I do, so that makes two of us. It's not easy for you to introduce people, not easy for me to talk about myself. Hence, I am practicing. So, as you mentioned, my name is Mario Wissa, and I was actually born and raised in Cairo, Egypt, a long time ago in the early 80s. And I came to the US 25 years ago to simply learn to speak English. I have passion for the language for some reason, I guess because the environment I grew up in. So I came to the US in the year 2000, so 25 years ago. Fast forward in the last 25 years, I've held more than 12 different jobs, 3 different corporations, and served in the US Navy. And I also had the opportunity to travel Asia for about 5 years, practicing yoga, meditation, teaching English to monks, Hindu monks, Buddhist monks. That was fun. And the last couple of years, in a humble way, I had the privilege of publishing and authoring 3 different books, and I'm working on my 4th one. And here we are. Here I am. I'm excited to make it on this podcast. Let's do it.
A lot of our listeners, since we talk about autism a lot with Leta having
Yes.
autism, communication comes up a lot,
Absolutely.
especially since with autistic people, communication can be difficult.
Yeah.
And you can say that into your microphone.
Well, I didn't hear what she said.
Talking to your microphone.
Take your time.
Oh, that was difficult. It's an understatement, you person that likes making understatements of everything in the world.
When you have difficulties, I know with like Leta, a lot of her dance teachers felt she was being disrespectful and not listening because being autistic, she doesn't want to look people in the eyes when they're talking. And communication then to her, they're like, well, you're not listening, you're not communicating with me. I wanted to bring you on because you are an expert in all things communication.
Thank you for saying that. You're absolutely right. Communication is my passion, and I am literally traveling the world, spreading the word about communication and its power, and how if we use it mindfully and intentionally, it can build bridges. When we become mindless about it and playing the blame game, it actually builds walls. So it's very important to be aware that when we say communication, it's not only verbal or non-verbal. There's also invisible way that we communicate by just existing. Our gestures, how we express ourselves, either by hand or just even being present. That is communication. And something really comes up that's very important for me. If anyone comes to me and say, you are not listening to me, you don't know how to listen to me, the first thing that crosses my mind, well, maybe you're right. I don't know how to do that. Please teach me. Be a role model of what you are telling me about. Because most of us humans, we actually learn a lot by seeing and perceiving, not necessarily do this and I do it and it's done. The human brain does not work that way, and emotions take time. Thoughts take time as well. Thoughts a little bit faster in a way, but Yeah, being a role model in our social communication and interactions between one and another as human being is very, very important. Um, as some people like to call it constructive criticism, we need to be aware of how we use that constructive criticism. It's very important to be aware that we talk our walk and we walk our talk. If someone gives me advice or an input or suggestion, well, could you please give me an example? Can you please let me see what that looks like? Allow me to experiencing it with you, because there's a difference between knowing something, understanding it, practicing it, and becoming it. So yeah, it's very important to be aware that when we communicate, we actually create with words.
Well, we talked a little bit in our pre-call about intra-communication, and one of the things I've tried to tell her dance teachers is with autistic people, especially when it comes to doing normal communication stuff, they're having an entire conversation in their mind, like, have I been looking in your eyes too long? When do I look away? When do I do this? When do I do that? So it's almost like trying to carry on another conversation while talking to someone.
Yes, yes. And I love that you bring this up, because honestly, for my research, I realized that more than 35% of people not really aware of their own personal communication, how they communicate with themselves. They're not even aware that it's happening. And for some people who are aware of it, they think it's something not healthy. Oh, like I'm crazy, I'm talking to myself. No, that's not crazy. That's very normal. In fact, that's not. I need to be mindful how I use the word normal, because normal could be elusive a little bit. And I remembered that because you said normal communication, and I'm not sure if such a thing exists, because we all were born and raised in different circumstances, different subcultures, different parents, even different traditions and language. And so this I really need to do a speech about this. Normal communication does not
Go
exist.
ahead.
No, in the future. Not now, no, in the future. When I go on my speaking or workshops, normal communication does not necessarily exist. Every human being is so different. Hence, being aware of our differences, it helps us to actually bring each other closer to one another.
I'm glad you said normal communication doesn't exist, because I use it because that's what everyone that we've had issues with her autism has continued to say. She's not normal. She's not normal. And I'm like, I've traveled the world. You can go ahead and say your piece.
Normal
Yes.
is a lie. There's no such thing as normal. Normal is a lie.
Now stop lying to yourselves.
I mean, she's not wrong, because I'm like, I've worked with people across the globe. What's normal for one person with communications, not necessarily normal for another person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Being a human means we are as much as we all have different names, and we have different skin tone. We all have different height and weight and shape in some ways. We also have different ways to process information. We know that some people out there have photographic memory. They can read a chapter and they remember every word and every page number. Some other people need to read this chapter 10 times to get the gist of the information. We all process information differently, and we process different information in a different way. Being aware of that is very crucial, because it's not about how I see and perceive and interpret information is the only way we communicate. No, this is the beautiful thing about communication. I think I mentioned this to you before. I see communication like air. It's everywhere. And when you go to different places, the air smells differently. It feels differently. Sometimes cold, sometimes hot. When you go high on elevation, oxygen becomes less, so many changes. That's kind of what communication is like. Every one of us have our own flavor of dealing with communication. And it's very important to be aware of that. Absolutely, Amanda.
And like you said, it is totally different. I was talking to one of her former dance teachers about
Yeah.
things, and they were like, no, everyone acts like we do in the US. And I'm like, must be nice to have a very small worldview.
Wow.
But it was even things like I was going, there are countries in Asia, talking about your trip to Asia, where they don't like telling you no. They will do everything but tell you no. But the no
Yeah.
was in there.
Yeah. It's to be aware that we are very precise with our language. Some of us are like that. Some of us like to use vague language. Some of us actually, it's amazing that they keep using the word normal a lot. That tells me that, I don't know, maybe the horizon of knowledge is not big enough, I guess. I don't know. Hence, I'm really proud of what you guys are doing. You are creating your own world, your own universe. And as you mentioned to me, you are not the only ones. There are many. So, in a way, guess what? This is really exciting to share. Guess what? You guys are creating your own normal. How about that?
I like
Screw
that.
the
I don't
normal.
think
Create your normal.
she's like, I'm not creating normal. I'm just creating my own space.
I love
I
it.
appreciate those kind words.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, how we can be precise of how we interpret specific detailed expressions, whether verbal or nonverbal. The interpretation comes from the database that we have in our own mind. I actually heard this quote um, almost 15 years ago and it stayed with me until then. I do not remember who said it before, but the quote goes like this: most of the time, we do not see things as they are, we see them as how we are. You might be familiar with it. That's really, really powerful to be aware of
It
it.
is. I kind of want to put that on a poster and put it in our dance studio when we get our own permanent space.
You will. It will happen. It will happen. And to be real, one of the things that I've noticed from my experiences when it comes to autism, um, they tend to be a lot more honest and direct in their communication. They express their thoughts without filter, which is a wonderful thing. Can you imagine if we all do this? Like, we become more honest and transparent with one another.
It has gotten her in trouble a few times and me.
In my defense, some of them were just stupid. Like the
Oh,
one who tried to tell me a shuffle hop was an Irish step when the first off, do not offend my father, and secondly, just do not offend my father, so help me, blatant racism is still racism!
She
I
works
like to.
with professional choreographers. One of her dance teachers misnamed a combo and she came out hotter than hot, going, I tried to explain to her where she was wrong. She just wouldn't listen to me.
It's like saying that everybody who has blood from Ireland or Scotland has red hair. This hair is not red. This hair is not red. This hair is not red. This is not red.
Yeah. Yeah.
The step used to be called a leprechaun step, but it was determined that might be a little inappropriate to people in Ireland.
Hmm.
And so she has grown up in a community where, being open and
Hmm.
understanding other communities. And then she's in this dance studios that's like, no, it's Irish, because all Irish people are like part leprechaun and have red hair. And she
Wow. That's a pretty narrow mind and pretty narrow point of view on things. Yeah, yeah.
and
What do
she
you
may
do
have
with
spoke
that?
she was a little vocal about it. And the teacher called and was like, she was vocal. And I'm like, she's right.
Hmm.
I didn't put anyone in the early bloody grave.
Calm down just a little bit. She gets a little she has an opinion.
Well, don't we all?
Oh yeah. Um Circling back to the intra, because I've
Yes.
had problems with a lot of her teachers her therapist, her dance teachers going, oh, you don't have an inner monologue going on. And I'm like, well, it must be nice to be you. Can you expand a bit on what intra is?
Absolutely. So I know we touched on this before, but for the sake of this conversation to build on, so the most popular style or type of communication out there is interpersonal communication, which is like 101. So if you, Amanda, and Leta are alone and having conversation together, just the two of you, that's interpersonal communication. What we are having, actually, the three of us right now, is group communication, three or more. And the one you bring up is intrapersonal. So interpersonal, I-N-T-E-R, interpersonal, intrapersonal, I-N-T-R-A. It is our internal dialogue. And this dialogue has been formulated and carved from really young age. In fact, this internal voice, it's actually not necessarily ours. It was given to us from young age. As we mentioned before, like the first 7 years of our lives, this voice gets cultivated by others. My mom's voice, my dad's voice, my sister, brother, in school, my friends, other students, even my teachers. Our brain, when we're young, we take all these voices in, and at some point we need to pause, not stop. I don't believe in like stopping. We need to pause, just take a breath, because we continue after that, and examine that inner voice. Where is it coming from? The voice that I'm hearing, or the ideas or thoughts that I'm hearing, did it come from mom, dad, my friends? And also think, what can I do about it? The awareness that we can actually manage this voice, we can train it, we can cultivate it intentionally. That means we become a lot more mindful, intentional, and conscious of our inner dialogue. Because let's be frank, if our inner voice is healthy, it will take us to so many places we can't even imagine. If we're not aware of our inner voice and it's not healthy, it can drag us to so many situations and troubles that we're not aware of. Now, some of us are aware of this voice and probably understand what to do about it, but honestly, most of us are not. One. Two, some of us may not even be able to do this just because of the personality or upbringing, or even the structure of our brain may not even allow it, you know? Like, what do you call this medical condition where they just like shout out like curse names, or
Oh,
once you say
Tourette's.
Tourette's. That's a great example. Tourette's is a great example. Some of the smartest people, and they're very kind and lovely, but sometimes they have this burst and they cannot do anything about it. And we accept it, we love it, we include it because it's part of existence. And it's beautiful to be unique. And if anyone is not able to see our uniqueness, they probably need to be aware of their own inner voice, because they're not aware of their own uniqueness. Because when we become a lot more conscious and aware of our inner voice, we realize how unique we are. And when we embrace that, wherever we go, subconsciously, we allow other people to be aware of their inner voice and embrace their own uniqueness. Can you imagine if I come to you and go like, you are so unique, I love how you are and how you live your life, and you look at me and go like, the same with you, you're doing your really best, you're unique as well, I love how different we are. Wow.
That's one of the things we're trying to do at the dance studio, is not just let our dancers embrace their uniqueness, but Lita's usually wanting to yell at parents. We have not let her yell at parents yet, but
Okay, in my defense, if you're in the classroom and you're trying to tell children that they're not the teacher, it doesn't help the child while you're acting that you're the teacher. It probably confuses them like this. However, love it tomorrow. Also, plus, it makes it hard for me to do the class because, yeah, it's also confusing me.
I probably should explain that. One of our kids, she's adorable. She's super sweet. She likes to be in charge. And the teacher in charge is like, okay, I'll meet you where you're at. We'll let you be in charge for a little bit. And then I'll let you kind of think you're in charge by suggesting what you should tell me we're doing next. The parents are terrified that we're going to judge their child over this because their child's been previously judged for who she is. And it's like, take a few deep breaths, realize your child is amazing. We're going to accept her how she is. We're going to reroute the class so that, she's the only kid in class. We are going to meet her where her communication style is.
I really like that you bring this up because one of the things I'm really try to spread out there and do my very best to take the point home or as far as I can go with people's minds, hearts, that for one human being to exist, I think you're probably aware of it. I'm sure you're aware of it. That's probably for future listeners, that the chance of one human being to exist is like one in like, I don't know how many billions.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. To really, that cultivates the appreciation that someone actually exists. One in like 100 billion for us to actually exist. In fact, we say there's probably like 100 million people that ever existed right now. No, billion. Right now, we're about 8 billion people. But based on the calculation, there's only about 100 billion people that ever existed. You and I and Leta and their teacher are the lucky ones to actually exist. Can you imagine if we see things from this lens?
It is amazing. I've worked with a bunch of my friends work at NASA or DARPA, and when you're looking at some of these pictures and looking at how small we are compared to the rest of the universe on top of it, and the Earth being in the perfect space to exist, even because it's not like we could exist on Mars or Venus.
Yeah. Wow, this is actually an amazing image to keep in mind. When we become aware and intentionally cultivate space for other people to exist, this is really, really powerful. And I think it also comes from the ability to do this for ourselves. When we create space for us, whether physically or mentally, to just be ourselves, accept our imperfections, our flaws, we do our best may not be up to standards. Well, moving forward, do my best. The next moment, the next day, the next hour, it's really important to create this safe space for us to exist without judgment, but with a great deal of appreciation. Yeah. I feel like I really need to interview those teachers that give you a hard time to understand what's going on in their own mind.
There's a bunch. It's not just one studio. It's been across the country. We had her in a private school for a bit and pulled her out to homeschool her because I'm like, I'm not dealing with all of you. I'm going to say things that are not appropriate for an adult to say to you.
Is it okay if I ask Leta a question?
Leta, you
Can
good?
I ask you a question? If not, it's okay. You can tell me. Thumbs up. That's okay. Thank you. When you communicate, do you prefer eye contact or you avoid eye contact? Because, yeah, just curious.
I just look off into the distance. As a plus, last time I checked, my ISO control my ASO. Or unless they are down, then I'll switch from the AS. But last time I checked, it's physically and mentally impossible.
Translation: no, she doesn't like looking people in the eyes.
Makes sense. Yeah. Just out of curiosity, does it make you feel uncomfortable, or it feels challenging to actually look someone in the eye?
First one. Except if I'm staring off into the distance and I accidentally get distracted by a cute bug or animal, or just cute animal.
Okay. Squirrel, and we get distracted. I do that sometimes.
She does.
Yeah, we all do sometimes.
You get distracted, but it's okay.
Well, we all get distracted sometime, and honestly, it just takes practice. The reason why I ask this because it's very important to be aware what the other person is comfortable with. When we have open heart and open mind, and we investigate and find out what makes the other person comfortable, we can meet them where they at. And with time, they will learn to do that with other people as well. I can tell you from even I don't know. I'll just bring it up for the sake of this. In the military, for 4 years, there were some leaders that would tell me, when I'm talking to you, look me in the eye. And other leaders, they tell me, when I'm talking to you, don't look me in the eye. It's disrespectful. So, he's not wrong. He's right. They all have different styles. Like being aware of that is very important to respect each other's ability and style. Because guess what? Maybe you don't like to look someone in the eye, but maybe you like something else, like have engaging conversation, or I don't know, maybe holding hands or something else that connects with another human being. Probably don't like holding hands, do you, Leta?
Leta, do you like holding hands?
No.
You can say that into your microphone.
It's okay. I can barely hear it.
No. Touch.
Yes?
No.
No.
She's not a big fan of people touching her either, which a lot of her dance teachers were like, no, you have to hug me. You have to do
Okay,
this.
last time I checked for one certain teacher, my hips mean nothing. The only time I will allow you to touch my hips is if you need me to stop you from falling down the god freaking staircase. That's the only time I will let you slide with that so you don't die my staircase.
Calm down. She definitely has a bubble, and she had a teacher who insisted on touching her to try and break her of having that bubble. And I'm like, she's communicated with you the issue, and her teacher's like, well, I don't care. And I'm like, well, then you've communicated to her that you don't like her. And the teacher was like, that's not what I was trying to communicate. I'm trying to communicate I do like her.
Wow. Yeah, the word care is really important. The first thing pops in my head if the teacher does not care or it doesn't matter to her, well, I'm gonna have to ask, like, why are you even a teacher? What are you teaching?
She's had a lot of those teachers, and I advocate for kids with special needs. And a lot of these teachers are like, I do care. And I'm like, can we discuss what the word care means?
Also, this is a world where children can get kidnapped.
Yeah, that's a whole different.
I didn't hear that actually. It went too fast.
A lot of the dance studios now are requiring parents to allow them to post their kids' stuff online.
Oh.
And we don't. And Leta's like,
See, creepos, people who want to kidnap children, creepos that want to kidnap children, stupid them. Idiot, you definitely should be allowed to have children with
Okay,
you
calm
in
down,
the same
Leta.
room, people.
So safety.
and parents should be able to make the decision on whether or not their children are posted online.
Absolutely. Not only the parents, the kids themselves, they get to choose what's comfortable for them.
Oh yeah, there's, Leta gets to make choices on when we're posting pictures, when we're posting videos. It's always a 2 yes, 1 no. If both of us say yes, it goes up. If one of us says no, it's not going up.
Yeah.
But you have a lot of dance studios who are like, but if I don't post your child's picture, people won't want to come to the studio. And I'm like, but you have to also respect the parents.
Wow. Are these teachers, or are they like lords? They're gods. They think everything have to go their way.
I think some of them have fell to how do I put this nicely? They are under the impression that they know everything. And it's like, there's a lot of stuff you don't know.
Wow. Yep. We talked about this. You don't know that you don't know. Absolutely. And this is actually, I love that you bring this up because from my research, I can tell you that I found out that we all have a great deal of capacity to be ignorant. We're just not aware of it. What we know is like this much. Okay, let me speak for myself. What I know is like this much. What I don't know is limitless, boundless. And I have to be aware of, well, actually, I need to ask you this first off. What kind of supportive environment are we creating for Leta? Is it the studio or there's another supportive environment beside that?
She has the studio, and then she's got on her professional dance side of things. They are extremely supportive over there. They have, if she's got a problem, they'll pull her from stage. She has a major sound sensory issue, so they try to make, she loves tap dancing. It does not get processed in the brain the same way as clapping does.
Oh.
And so she's screaming, clapping's evil. They will actually
cute.
choreograph her to be off stage if possible before the clapping starts.
Wow. Okay.
Because they know it causes sensory overload.
Yes, yes, exactly. Sensory overload. That's one of the things I was going to bring up next is what do you think is her preferred communication style? Is it written? Is it spoken?
She's like, I can't write. She has severe dyslexia. Her eye tracking moves right to left and up to, or down to up.
Okay.
Which has caused, issues reading, which is another issue she had in dance studios, because you do have to read and write and dance, which I've never understood. And they're like, well, she's not reading, so she can't dance. And I'm like, I'm not going to say you're stupid. I'm just going to walk away from this conversation. She's had teachers on that one say, well, because she can't read yet, she's not above the age of a 3-year-old mentally. And I'm like, you can talk. Don't.
Oh yeah, I had teachers when I was 8 asking me whether or not I'm worried about a driving test. I was 8.
Her problem also is let me explain.
Did you say
she's
driving
always
test?
been with the older kids. Oh, yes.
That's awesome.
She was nonverbal till she was 6. She did not have expressive or receptive until she's 6. And parents at the studio are like, aren't you excited she learned to talk? And I'm like, we missed the baby talk stage. You guys all have seemingly gotten. We went from not talking to preteen. That's not a fun jump.
Go ahead,
I
Leta.
was around the teenagers when I was 6, so that's not my fault.
She's extremely talented in dancing, so they had my 6-year-old up with the middle schoolers.
You know what? This topic is really engaging, really interesting. If someone tells someone else, regardless to the circumstances or environment, that you can't dance or you don't know how to dance, well, I need to ask this person, how do you define dancing? Because dancing is simply moving the body in a pleasurable way.
I'm pretty sure they were defining dancing as listening the way I want you to listen in class, and acting the way, acting. It's the wrong word to use, but it's neurotypical. Acting like I assume a child should act.
Amanda, you might be familiar with this, and I don't know if Leta heard it either too, but there's a saying that goes like this: I never stumble, because when I stumble, it turns into a dance.
I have heard that one, and knowing all of our friends who are professional dancers who are major klutzes, I have an idea. I know where it came from.
Oh, you do? Okay, so it's like perfect. It's the same thing. Like, oh, I never mess up a dessert. If I make a cake and it falls on the floor, it turns into a pudding. The point is, like, we have the ability to make something amazing out of whatever comes our way. I say this with heavy heart, and these interactions that you share with me, the communication style with other instructors, teachers, maybe that's one of the reasons why there's so much pain in our society. Like some teachers who are teachers, but they have not harnessed how impactful and powerful their position really is. There's a reason why in the Bible, not go religious, I'm not really that religious, but it's interesting. The Bible says, children are, what does it say? Something, children are the love for God, or what is it? I forgot. Do you know what I'm talking about? There's a saying there.
Can't remember off the top of my head. It's been a
never
while
mind. We'll pass over this. It's okay. I think what I'm trying to bring up here is I don't understand what happened to our brain as adults. When we get older, we forget what it was like to be a child with different abilities and in a different circumstances that we grew up in. Appreciation is really, really important. Um, what, can I ask you another question really quick?
Sure.
Beside yourself, who is like a supportive individuals in Leta's life?
She's got her dad. She has her mentors, Chloe Arnold, Maud Arnold, Aurealis, Ashley, Giselle, Silva. She's got an entire dancewear company behind her. She has all of her friends with her international tap dance company, Soul Talk. You gonna add to that?
Can our
Go.
puppies count? And everyone in Las
Yes.
Cruces out of love?
Do you say puppy?
And our puppies? And their puppies? Can their puppies count? Can our puppies count? Please?
We can discuss puppies counting later.
Actually,
But she does have a huge group around her because you can't raise a child on their own.
yeah, well, the old saying, it takes a village to raise a child. Absolutely. I actually really like that Leta said, do puppies count? Absolutely, 100% they count. And I'm working on getting my own dog. And yes, the thing is, individuals that around us honestly can be human or pets, or can be even a toy. Just something that feels supportive to us. If there's like between 3 to 5 people in our lives, even people or dogs that actually supportive, that's pretty much enough, really. Having this support, as obviously you already know, is very, very important. So yeah, that's why I was bringing this up. Even me in my own life, I only have like really close 3 to 4 people who are really close to me that I consider them supportive. And yeah, that's why I was asking. Okay, very interesting. So yeah, go ahead.
That support group is also where she got the idea that she could tell teachers at the dance studio, you're wrong.
I apologize. I'm gonna have to pause for a second here because I'm really happy with what Leta did. She created in the last like 5 to 10 minutes. I like what she put on her wrist, and my gosh, you finished the whole project in like under 10 minutes? That's amazing.
Can you say thank you? And she's like, there's a mic. You can learn to use your
I can hear you.
Cool.
Yeah. I love it. Cool.
She does listen a lot when she's doing the projects and everything, and it helps her listen more. So I'm like, if you want to do your projects, if you want to draw.
That's amazing.
I know I had a professor who I used to cross stitch in class, and he's like, you can't cross stitch. And the next quiz, I bombed it badly because I couldn't remember anything. And he's like, and you can cross stitch from now on.
I am mesmerized with this, honestly. We're just having this conversation and I can see what Leta is working on in under like 10 minutes. She made that project and she's actually paying attention, she's listening, and she responded and make comments. I can't even do that myself. It's just, I have to focus on one thing at a time. That's amazing.
And if she's like at a dance studio, she stims, which is, unconscious movement of the body. She stims a complicated tap step. Her dance teachers will come out and go, she was tapping through class. I'm like, well, when you stopped her, she stopped listening. She has to stim in order to listen.
Okay, in my defense, ballet is boring and evil. And the reason it was created as evil.
Who's
She's
evil?
not a fan of ballet.
Oh, really? Okay, well.
But it's a requirement in almost every dance studio that you have to do ballet because it's just a requirement. You can just, we will do the history of ballet a different time. But no, even explaining that to teachers, they're like, no, she can't stim and listen. And my absolute favorite is teachers who are like, I was trying to correct how she's stimming. And I'm like, what part of unconscious do you got and subconscious are you guys not getting? And they're like, well, I should be able to perfect her subconscious movements.
Well, not a big deal with unbelievable expectations. Wow.
Like, I'm not trying to be mean here, but that's not how subconscious works, but you do you.
Yeah. Wow. And if I have the opportunity to have every single teacher and instructor that dealt with Leta and have them in front of me, I would ask them the following question: do you have the ability to focus on the message that Leta is trying to convey versus her method or style? That's very important. Some people will call it like read between the lines, but it's not even that. It's actually focusing on the message and the purpose versus the style or the method. This is personal preference, how we convey the message. Yet to be aware, to see what the message that is being conveyed is very, very important. Don't you think so, Leta? Surprise. I love the thumbs up. I do that
Thumbs up.
sometimes. I love thumbs up.
No, I mean, it is what you said is very important. I think some of these teachers have gotten the idea, and it's in the education system as well, that they know everything, and that because I shocked one of them, because I'm like, I tell my interns and my junior staffers, I'm the smartest person in the room because I know what I don't know, but I know who knows it.
Yes.
And by going, I don't know that, but I know exactly who to go talk to, it makes me smarter than the rest of you. And they were like, but I have to know everything. And I'm like, no, the key is to know what you don't know.
That's brilliant. So I did ask Leta, and she said she preferred not to look someone in the eye. I'm curious, do you prefer to communicate like visually by pictures and items, or you prefer to communicate with words? We eliminated writing. That's not an option.
Leta, how do you prefer to communicate?
Take your time.
Geology.
So, communicating by animals is not necessarily.
Did she say geology or zoology?
Zoology.
Zoology. I love it. Okay.
Hey, they don't need words. By the way, they don't need words. They really do not need words.
Okay, calm down just a
I'm just saying, they're better at communication than human beings. And they don't even speak.
I don't think you can say that animals aren't speaking, though. I have a lot of friends who are zoologists that would disagree that they're not communicating.
I meant with words. What did you think I meant entirely? I meant with words, you idiot. I love you, though. I love you.
Did you say woods?
She said words. She has
Words,
problems
words,
with
words,
arts
words.
still.
Words. Okay.
But yeah, she likes. It's not necessarily straightforward. Sometimes when she communicates, when she's describing something, it's much more poetic, is how I would say it. If you ask her how she felt about something like her soul talk rehearsals, it's going to be more imagery than it's going to be flat out, oh, it was a great rehearsal.
Before I mention the next point, which I think is really crucial, and I think you're probably familiar with it, Amanda, I can tell that Leta is very, very creative. What she's doing with the poster and the project she's working on. She even turned the poster into like a cool toy or something moves around. It's super cool. I think it's very important for many people out there to realize that when it comes to communication with an autistic person, which it turns out that we all are on the spectrum. It turns out that we all are on the spectrum. It's amazing. To really avoid vague idioms and figures in speech, we need to be literal about the message that we convey, and also be aware and realize that they're actually doing the same. They're not coloring their words. They're not trying to be fancy or elegant or eloquent. They want to convey the message out. Hence, active listening is crucial. Two parts that really helps with connecting with autistic person is one, to ask empowering questions that add value and give them the time to think and process, and actively listening to what they have to share, to take in the information without criticism, without changing it, without altering it, because they're simply trying to express their own thoughts and feelings. And let's be clear, for most of us, it's not that easy to actually express our thoughts and feelings. To be kind about the process is very, very crucial, I think. What do you think, Amanda?
I think you're right. I know the using very literal language has been a hard problem for a lot of her dance teachers. She had one when she was 8, I want to say was when Miss Janie was doing it, who was saying things like, if you forget this on stage, your parents aren't going to love you and they're going to like leave you. And Leta came home in tears,
Oh,
and I'm
sweetheart.
sitting there going, do you know what you just told her? And she's like, oh, I've told kids that for ages and no one's ever reacted the way she has. She's literal.
You know what? This is really empowers my project even more. People need to learn more about communication. Like, honestly, I have another question. Whether you're ready to answer it or not, Leta, that's fine. I'm open to it. What is your comfort level with silence and being quiet? Like it, not like it? Wow, you're ready. Okay, go ahead.
Nighttime.
Translation, she loves silence.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
mean, she is a dancer, so she does have her phone and her music going a lot as she's looking for, that next piece to do.
Wow. Yeah, being, you know, caring, mindful, and experienced teacher and instructor, they would actually ask questions to find out where Leta is coming from, what her preferences are, and that way we would be crystal clear how to communicate and approach Leta. Now, obviously, it's not easy for every person to do this. Not everyone has the knowledge or skills. And my goodness, it's very interesting experience. I'm sure there's so much to learn in this experience. Yeah.
We have our lead dance teacher at the studio.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot convince parents she's never worked with autistic kids before this year. Because she is so amazing with them. And one of the reasons is she's trying to figure out how they communicate. What do they need to communicate? And the kids love that. They're open more to her and she's not necessarily, because most of them that she's working with are young. So trying to phrase the questions like you're getting phrased to an older person, like, how would you like me to communicate with you? But she's getting on their level. She's working with them. She's figuring out, and she's changing how she's teaching specifically to communicate to those kids. And the kids are growing by leaps and bounds, and their parents are calling going, what did she do? What black magic are you doing over there?
I actually, Leta, would you be kind and just bring this this art of yours closer to the camera? I would like to see it more. A little bit. Is that like a swan or a duck? You don't know? It looks like maybe a giraffe. Maybe an upside down angel, maybe.
Is it just open to interpretation, Leta?
Yes, it's abstract art. Oh, oh, Leta, do you like to draw or paint, or you like to do that, or not so much? Yeah, the artistic. Does she have what do you call it, easel to paint on or anything like
She
that?
had an easel when she was younger, but she prefers sitting down with her markers and her pencils. And she just started working a couple months ago with resin and doing jewelry and everything. And she's making keychains for every kid in the studio.
Wow. I am unpacking this treasure within Leta, her creativity and her ability to create something beautiful out of nothing. My goodness. Wow.
But the number of teachers who have worked with her who would be shocked. And I'm like, but communication is more than having the kid just listen to you. Communication is understanding.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I have a feeling. Oh, go ahead, Leta. You want to say something? No? Okay. I have a
She's
feeling.
just bending down.
Okay. I thought she was going to get the mic and make comment. I was going to say, I think if someone come and ask Leta, how would you like me to communicate with you? And Leta would be like, be quiet, please. I like silence. That would be
syllable.
Sounds about right, Leta?
Uh,
Yes, okay.
Though she can have a voice when she wants to, as you've heard today.
Yeah, when she wants to, and we need to respect that.
And I think that's one of the things that a lot of the teachers who worked with her didn't understand is when she has her voice, and she knows what her opinions are.
Yeah.
But a lot of times she just wants to kind of be there and not be
Do,
bothered.
do you, Leta, prefer to have multiple things to be working on, or you prefer like one task at a time?
I'm not like my mommy. I don't do 102,060 things at once. I
Wow,
do like probably like 50.
that's a lot.
Thanks for saying how much I'm working on at once. She's like, I know how healthy it is, and you need to have a limit on how much you work on at once, Mom.
Yeah. The questions that I'm bringing up and asking you directly, Leta, are you comfortable with my questions, or you feel like they're not comfortable?
I'm good with questions.
Try again.
She said she's good with them.
Okay, good. Because this could be a great tool to use, like with other people, or when she meets someone new. When they ask a question and it's just like overwhelming, we can probably tell these people, please ask a simpler question and direct question to help us build this channel between us. When you ask me like convoluted or overwhelming question, I don't like these questions. Ask me a simple question. I like questions, but keep them simple, one question at a time. And I guess I can whisper in the other person's ear, whoever is asking the question, is please be patient and give the other human being time to think. It's very important. I can tell Leta is extremely creative. Oh, are you left-handed, Leta? No, okay. They say left-handed people are creative. I don't know.
Yeah, you're right-handed. I think mainly because that's what your occupational therapist decided you were.
Oh,
They
interesting.
had to. She was in occupational therapy because of small motor skills, and the occupational therapist is like, I have to choose one hand. We're choosing the right.
You know what? I have really strong feeling with awareness of time, and I know you guys probably have to go soon. My next podcast is not like another hour from now, but I really have a strong feeling that in the near future, Leta is going to create something very unique, something artistic, whether it's like by dancing or something creative, maybe painting or actual figure. Have she ever tried like clay and things like that, or that's too messy?
She works with clay on a regular basis too.
Do you have something that you finished? You can show me now, Leta. Something with clay.
You want to go upstairs and
You
grab
want to show me
something?
real quick? I can wait. No problem. Wow.
Hold on. It's all upstairs on the kitchen table. We can't eat on the table. It's all covered with her stuff.
Amanda, she is truly brilliant. She is super creative. She's a blessing.
Thank you so much.
Wow. Really, really creative. Wow.
I hate for all of the teachers she's been with who didn't see that and who were all they saw was the autism, and they're like, I don't see labels. And then because they weren't willing to see the autism, they weren't willing to understand who she was.
Let's see what we got. I'm excited.
You may show off now. You guys
Show
have
and
the
tell.
camera.
That's a heart inside a heart. I like that. White and red. Well, happy V-Day. Happy Valentine's Day. There we go. Perfect.
There.
Nice.
And there's some designs on the back too.
Cool. It's not easy to see the design on the back. Is it design or what does it say?
She just did some circles in it, and then she did a rose.
A rose. Wow, that's clay. That's some details. Oh, wow. And is this like Christmas tree? What is it?
I think we determined it was a Christmas tree. She just started making it, and she's like, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it looks like a red pine tree.
Yeah.
So is that your favorite color, Leta? Red? What's your favorite color?
Do you have a favorite color?
Every single color in the world.
Is your favorite? Wow.
So yeah, she's got the clay, she's got the resin, we went ahead and got her the chains and the lobster clasps to do keychains for everyone. She's got her drawing pads and her markers and her pencils. So yeah, there's a little bit of arts going around here, and her Legos.
Well, honestly, with consideration to autism and how people use these labels and all, honestly, most creative and intelligent people, they actually have a really small world of their own, because the big world can be like messy and you get lost in it. Having our own creative space, I think that's really beautiful. Wow, this is really, really cool. Wow.
I mean, a lot of the big name creatives are autistic or neurodivergent. And that's one of the things I've been having to tell some of these parents coming in from the neurotypical world, who are like, what does this world hold for my kid? And I'm like, well, Richard Branson is nothing if not autistic.
Yep. It's a great
Elon
example.
Musk is completely
Yeah.
autistic. We talked yesterday. I don't use Apple. I loved Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
He absolutely could not do relationships the way people wanted him to because of his autism.
Yep.
I know Alan Menken, who, if you were a 90s kid watching all the Disney, he's the one who did all the music for it. And he absolutely is autistic.
Oh, Miss Michelle's husband?
Yeah, Miss Michelle's husband, we are not putting that one out there because
Okay.
he's not out there.
Oh, is he not diagnosed autistic? I thought he was
He's not.
autistic. Oh,
She knows some people that behind the scenes will admit to their autism, but they're afraid if they admit to it in public that people will look at them differently.
Wow. Talking about vulnerability.
And I mean, I think they may be right. I think it could cost them their careers to come out and say they're autistic because it still has such a stigma to it.
I could just punch the ever-loving, stupid, ever-loving, able-loving
You can't
people.
do violence is not the answer.
Just you! If violence isn't the answer, then why was there an American Revolution? And why did the France have so many?
Women in history. American Revolution. That's awesome.
So she may watch some YouTube history channels and some of the fat electrician stuff and may have a few ideas.
Like seriously, don't tell me violence isn't the answer when there are so many fiends in history of grown freaking adults doing violence. Preach what you teach. Don't not preach what you teach. That's just stupid.
I mean,
she does have a valid point,
adults should
actually.
preach what they teach.
She does have a valid point, actually. So, just to be crystal clear, violence is not the answer. It is one of the answers. It's not the preferred answer. Okay, let's just be crystal clear about this.
The U.S. military is defensive, not offensive.
Hence, I only stayed in for like 4 years. But you're absolutely right, Leta. When I find out like how the military can be, as you mentioned, I'm like, okay, that maybe that's not my cup of tea so much. Yeah.
There's been a little violence in the world, but it's not the answer. Martin Luther King Jr. kind of showed us that.
America, when they touch our boats. America, when they touch our boats, even with the most gentlest of touchies, when they touch our boats.
Calm down.
Definitely
She's
expressive.
grown up in a military family.
I love how expressive she is. I love it. Yeah.
This is something that you only get when you have that respect, obviously, because she's got a few dance teachers who are like, wait, she talks? You didn't give her a safe space to talk in.
Leta, I'm sorry, go ahead, Amanda.
You gave her a safe space. I wanted to make that clear. You've been wonderful. It's the teachers that were like, but I told her exactly how to do everything, and now she doesn't talk for me.
I am genuinely curious for Leta. What does a safe space look like or feels like?
It's the darkness. Darkness has moon, and stars, and fireplace, and the animals, and the owl. I like owls.
But what does it, when you start talking to other people and you open up, what do people have to do so that you'll actually talk?
Yes.
Be just a nice human, never loving freaking being.
Just treat you like a human being?
I like
It's
how
amazing
you're
what
being more
treating people
articulate
like
with the question. Good job, Amanda. Good job making the question more articulate.
I've had 13 years of figuring out how to redirect her questions.
Very, very nice.
Because that's communication also, at least as far as, my 20 plus years working, sometimes you have to figure out how to form the question so the other person understands what you're asking. And I've had within the dance world with her dance teachers, they're like, no, she should just understand the question I'm asking. And I'm like, her brain didn't process what you just said.
You remind me of something really. So when I was traveling in India, I stayed in so many ashrams. I don't know if you know what ashrams are, like temple for Hindu people.
Yeah.
And I remember one of the ashram, I still have the picture somewhere. On the entrance, the door entrance, there's a big sign up front. It says, "It is better not to be born than to be born and live ignorant life." I'm hearing from the teachers and instructors that they have a blinding level of ignorance, which is almost harmful and hurtful. And with open heart, we actually have to be compassionate with these people because we know what we don't. We know what we know, and we don't know what we don't know, as you said. Yeah.
She doesn't feel as bad for him as I do because I'm like, it's terrible that you are living in such a small world.
Yeah.
I mean, you haven't, and even some of them were like, well, I've traveled. And I'm like, I'm getting the idea you travel to the touristy spots.
Yeah. Do you guys travel a lot? I mean,
Not
like in the
out of
US, you
country.
mentioned you go to another
Yeah.
state.
She goes to LA a lot. We go to Washington, D.C. a lot. We have traveled, she's not a fan of Washington, D.C. because she gets stuck in the basement of a hotel for 3 days straight when we go out there for a conference. And she does not like being stuck where there's no windows.
Yeah. You like openings, you like space. Leta, do you like traveling in general? Do you feel comfortable with it or not so much?
I'm fine with it. As
You're fine
long
with
as you
it.
don't put me in box.
As long as there's no box.
She prefers traveling, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Leta. It's when Dad and I go, hey, because your dad's a geologist, so he prefers going out in the middle of nowhere. And you prefer us going, hey, we're going out where we can't even get cell phone coverage, right?
We got the thumbs up. That's a big sign. Yep.
But she's grown up in the Southwest a lot. My family's from the Southwest. My husband's from Colorado. There's a lot of cultures even here that I think people overlook.
The subculture.
At the subcultures, we've got friends who belong to the Pueblos. We have friends who belong to the Denai. We have friends who belong to the Hopi Nation. They're cultures into and of themselves, which I think is one thing a lot of the dance teachers she's had are like, no, they must be American. And it's like, and she grew up on the border in Las Cruces. Most of her life's been right on that border. It's a totally different world than moving this far inland into Colorado Springs.
Do you, Leta, have a preference whether you prefer to use transportations as a flying or riding a car? Which one do you prefer?
Either.
Okay. And no preference.
But you have to have a form of transportation to get places.
Oh, this isn't the area where we can use horses, so.
You can't just automatically transport. You would like teleporters, huh? Yeah, she wants sci-fi teleporters.
Well, I love your imagination. Who knows? Maybe you are the one who will help us to create teleportation system in the future. It's gonna happen eventually.
Probably just gonna be the one find the scientist that knows how to do it. Well, do it and just hit him so on the back of the head. They realize, stop being freaking stupid. Do it.
Quick, calm down. But as far as places to live, you prefer Las Cruces, though, don't you, to anywhere else? Yeah, because it's a totally different world than up here.
Shush. Then I get sweet sopapillas. And burritos. And basically every single delicious food on the universe.
Yeah, the Mexican food served down on the border is different than the Mexican food served up here. And she's like, you guys don't understand.
It is Mexican food. Don't lie. It's literally a food that literally should be put in jail for identity theft.
Her friends up here think Taco Bell is Mexican.
No. Do you think it's Mexican food, Leta, or no? Taco Bell?
Taco Bell is not Mexican, is it?
That's not Mexican. That is evil. Also, they have fake freaking meat.
She grew up with like sopapillas being both dessert and down on the border where she's grown up. You can
with the sopapillas. Well, that or honey sopapillas.
let me explain it. So you can have it for your main meal too. You cut it open and you stuff it full of the beans and all the burrito stuffings in the middle of the sopapilla. So you get the sweet dessert bread in your main meal, which is not something you get up this far north. And it's also, the difference of the culture of it's very Latino down there. It's still very, because you're right on the border. It's 85% Latino. Most of those families have been there since before it was part of America. You have the plaza. You have the different holidays that you don't get this far north that she's used to doing. And when she would go into dance studios like here, or when we were in Alabama, they'd be like, what is this weird thing you speak of, Three Kings Day?
I am curious. I think we all are on the same page that when we dance, the first thing that we think about is like dancing with our body. Okay. Leta, do you think we can also dance with our words and thoughts? Yes or no, or neither?
I mean, that's what I sing, so yes.
She said yes.
Oh, yes. But what was before that? It's not the right thing?
It's already a thing.
It's already a thing. Oh, very nice. Very nice. So with this awareness, we know that not everyone knows how to dance. Physically dance. We can't really dance with anyone. It's not easy. Some people do not know how to dance. It's the same thing with our thoughts and words. Not everyone really know how to dance with us, with our thoughts and words and expressions. And I think it's important to be aware of that. Some people are able, some people are not. And just awareness itself is really important.
I'm not 100% sure people can't dance. If they're given the right place to dance, you want to take that dance?
I like that.
I just would mention this is going into an hour. Is it supposed to be an hour?
You're keeping track of the time and you're like, we're over an hour, Mom.
We are. I love how you're paying attention to that. Now we're all getting paid overtime, Leta.
Yeah.
Okay, candy at the end of this?
Can have candy at the end of this.
Oh,
That was it's nice to be a teenager and think candy and cookies is payment, right?
It's payment.
Yeah.
But we've noticed, we have had some parents go, well, my kid loves moving to music, but they can't dance. And within 3 weeks, our amazing dance teachers have them dancing. And it's like, no, you just have to. I think a lot of the traditional studios have gotten dance is a form of communication.
Absolutely.
And they're like, well, you can only do it one way. And it's like, that's not how that works.
And honestly, Amanda, I really love that you said that. It's actually true. No one does not know how to like dance. It's just have the safe environment where we can express ourselves. Because like me standing here and doing this, this is a dance. Anyone can dance, making a move like
Yeah.
this. Like how they dance in India, that's a dance too. We all can move, but just feeling comfortable in the environment and being comfortable in our own skin, that really empowers us. And I love that you said that because it's true. Uh, we all can dance with our words and thoughts. Just sometimes we don't sync up, and that's very important to be aware
And
of.
your dancing may not look exactly like someone else expects. She's got friends from her international tap company that
like people and thinking how cowboys dance and me
okay,
just
shush. I was going somewhere else.
Wait.
But no, you've got some friends who are first generation. Their parents have immigrated from India, and they're very big on trying to mix your tap dancing with their traditional Indian styles.
Mm-hmm.
And they're very white, unfortunately. Dance teachers are like, that's crazy. But then they go into the temples and everything, and everyone there's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. You're communicating in a new way.
Yes. Yes.
I know they're amazing to see. And the Brazilian form of tap dancing, because she's got Brazilian mentors, they've taken their indigenous tribal dances and mixed it with tap dancing with all their, and it's like you can dance, it just may not look the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I can really perceive how Lita's brain is like always in like 5 gears. She wants to play with something, create something. Um, that is super cool. Is it challenging sometimes to just like sit down and do nothing? It's probably challenging, right?
I think it is
It's
challenging
challenging
for
for me,
her.
I'm sure. Yeah, it's challenging. She wants to create something all the time. Yep, it's
I think
incredible.
it's challenging for most people to just sit and do nothing.
Yeah. Actually, yes, but actually, very few where yeah, it's true. Very few, like one in like 1,000, where they go like, you know what, I can like just sit for 10, 15 minutes and do nothing. That's not very common. Yet people do exist. I was just curious. Yeah.
I envy my friends who can meditate and do nothing as they're meditating. It's like, that must be nice for your brain to stop working for that. I mean, it's not stopping working, but not firing as fast as my brain wants to fire.
Yeah, I love that you say this actually, Amanda, because when it comes to meditation, there are like two specific types of meditation. Dynamic meditation, which I feel like that's kind of what Lita practices. Like she's like moving and creating something when she's very engrossed in what she's doing, what she's really focused. Besides, you probably think about candy or cookies later, a different story. Static meditation is like when someone sits and do not move and just breathe and observe their thoughts. That is challenging and it takes years to practice. Yes.
I know all my friends who can do it are like, you should do this. And I'm like, I have not had the decades you guys have had.
Yeah, it really, really takes time. But yeah, I'm asking just for the sake of finding out. It's very interesting. Okay.
But she is right. We told you an hour. We are going to need to have you back on for another podcast shortly.
Absolutely. What do you think, Lita? Should we continue this another time?
yes. Also, if anyone is still listening or watching, how did you make it this far? That's like so long. How did you make it
I
this far? That's probably
'cause
only 2 people still watching.
she doesn't like listening to long podcasts unless she's doing something too. So she's always impressed when people listen this long without doing something else.
Most people, trust me, they're listening and driving or listening and cooking or maybe listening at the gym. Yep. You're right.
Yeah, I know a few people who listen and do it while they're running on the treadmill. So they just were running longer today, Lita.
Yes.
Yeah, we definitely will have you back on, Mario. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Lita.
It was an amazing conversation. Can you say thank you? That is her version of thank you most days when she's happy.
More than enough for me. I really, I'm able to see, perceive, and really admire what Lita has to offer. It is so unique and it's so beautiful. Not everyone have the perception and the ability to see that. And we need to be patient with those people because they just don't have the ability. So I love what you guys are doing, and I cannot wait to hear more updates about your studio and how many people you guys going to attract and people's lives that you are going to touch. And thank you, Leta, for sharing your pottery with me.
Thumbs up. Thank you for the kind words, Mario. And we will definitely have you on again here soon. And we will see all of our listeners on Tuesday for Tap Tuesdays.
Have an amazing.
Well, thank you for watching the podcast, and please subscribe, and also look at that adorable paper. So if you want to subscribe for it, and also please leave a like, and don't forget, if you subscribe to our stuff, you won't miss any of our new podcast stuffies. And also, did you see that adorable paper? Don't you like it?